soldiers.
Alrighty, how's it going? Jonathan here with Boston Collectors. Today's an exciting day because I've got a brand new figure come in, which means we've got a brand new upload for you all to hopefully enjoy. Wrecker is one of my most anticipated releases, so I can't wait to dive in. With the Bad Batch Season 3 beginning this month as of this recording, he couldn't have come in any sooner. While we're still waiting for the final Bad Batch member, I'll happily take Wrecker until tech ships out. My box took quite a beating during shipping, which is unfortunate, but everything came in undamaged apart from that. If you enjoyed the intro and what you see so far, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel for more, and like and comment down below to help us reach a wider group of collectors. It'd be greatly appreciated. Beginning with the pre-equipped gestures out of the box, we have our first ever clone fists from Hot Toys. From this point forward, it's hoping Hot Toys will scale them down and make them a standard across the board for future releases. Next, we have a pair of neutral gestures. I've noticed Hot Toys updated these quietly, but I'm unsure if future releases will receive this same update. I say that because as of this recording, Commander Fox released and he hasn't updated to reflect what we have here. They still work well with holding other accessories like the thermal detonator, which isn't included. A strange choice, especially considering he likes to blow things up. Moving on, we have one right trigger gesture. 99% of the time, Wrecker used his right hand while wielding his blaster, but a pair would have been nice. We'll discuss the DC-17M in a moment though. For the final set of hands, we have a pair of gripping gestures used for his vibro knife. This one is specially modified using a Queen Yalvik stinger, unlike Hunter's, as far as we know. Due to its larger scale, we're able to see far more details throughout the blade than we could before. Using Hunter's vibro knife, we can get an idea of scale, details, and differences between the two. And for an even better idea of sizing, we have the heavy Mandalorian vibro knife as well. Fitting Wrecker's knife with other clones could work, but it's too far out of scale to make sense unless you wanted it to. You need to use a trigger finger to wield it, but you're ultimately better off just using Hunter's. Oddly enough, Wrecker's grip is tight enough to hold Hunter's vibro knife, but it is a bit tiny for him. When not in use, you can sheath it on his calf armor with the blade facing behind him. It's friction fit, so you don't have to worry about it falling out. As mentioned earlier, we have Wrecker's DC-17M. It's almost a carbon copy of Hunter's, and the same exact size as his, which I thought was interesting, especially considering it should be 15% larger. There are a few removable pieces, such as the ammo cartridge if you're going for more of a reload pose. And lastly, the gun can come apart at the midsection. I'm unsure why that is, but I find it to be kinda cool. If none of that is of interest, you can keep it fully kitted out. I find the extra weathering detail they left off kind of interesting. Wrecker's rifle is clean compared to Hunter's. Not only that, they're the same exact size. If the model were being reused, which, let's face it, they would have reused it anyway, I don't understand why the extra weathering was taken away. I get sticking to what was seen in the source material by way of Wrecker shooting with his right hand, but then we received extra accessories with Echo. For the final accessory included with his release, we have his magnetic backpack. The detail work is the standard top-notch quality that we're all used to at this point from Hot Toys. The paint application of the lighting on his backpack really does make it appear as if it's active and turned on. However, my only gripe comes with storing his rifle. He stores it off to the side of his pack, almost similar to Crosshair. The best alternative I could come up with was an additional clear piece we could clip on and off the side of the pack, similar to what we saw in the Geonosis battle droids, for example. As for the base stand, it includes the standard expectations. We have the tinfoil sticker nameplate, the Imperial flooring design on top, a crotch grabber, and an additional base topper featuring Wrecker's helmet and the Bad Batch typography. There are a lot of other accessories compatible with Wrecker if you own any of the previous clones. For example, we have the rocket launcher and the Z6 rotary cannon, to name a few. Wrecker's helmet design to me is the coolest out of the entire batch. It really does make him feel and appear as a tank. His helmet features the Clone Force 99 across the top, the slight overhang at the brow, and an almost mythosaur-like paint application for his mouth. Although I doubt it's indicative of a mythosaur though. Throughout the rest of his helmet, there are nicks and dings from previous battles and geometrical designs which meet at the front of the helmet. Speaking of which, I noticed a small change in paint application here. There's a shinier white application below his eye, whereas the rest of the white on his helmet is painted in a matte white. You can see that here based on how the light scatters. In terms of articulation, there's a lot of movement here, allowing him to really dominate the display and become the wrecking ball he needs to be. And he can also look over his breastplate. I love the way his helmet turned out, and I find the mixture of the matte and shiny paint application as a nice addition. You don't notice it unless you're looking for it though, so you may not even care. The tanky nature to its design feels similar to an EOD bomb suit helmet, but suited for the Star Wars universe. Since he loves his bombs, it makes the most sense to me. It's a phenomenal recreation if that's the case. Before we begin, there is a skin tone neck joint beneath the collar. However, you won't be able to see it with the portrait on. I feel as though this was intended, and I say that because the neck piece feels rather thin for his portrait size, and the suit does a good job at hiding it in the shadows of his armor. When you notice it, it's hard to ignore, but again, you may not care. As for the portrait design, I had a lot of fun recording this portion of the video. The details ranging from the age lines, the furrowed brow, to the scar along the side of his face, it really made this a treat to film. If you've seen a clone portrait in hand, they're usually the best part of the release, but I haven't had one quite like this before. The damaged eye combined with the scarring on the side of his face is a menacing design for a guy as playful as Wrecker. With the way his portrait was created, it reflects what I'd imagine him looking like while executing Order 66. His scarring reaches across the bridge of his nose, and you can even find raised veins throughout his head. But the star of the show comes from the recreation of what was seen in the Bad Batch. The damage to his portrait is raised, and it features multiple paint applications indicative of the blast and healed skin. Combining that with the damaged ear and the milky colored eye, Wrecker genuinely encapsulate what I'd imagine a tank character to look like. With all of the lights on, you can see the detail work throughout the rest of his face, such as the smile lines, veins, and subtle follicles throughout the rest of his face and head of his portrait. Another cool subtle feature to it is the damage to the follicles on the scars. They aren't present, so the texture just wasn't added across the board. Under lower lighting, it's really just appreciating the finer details that we don't see. I like the way he turned out. But how does he look alongside his brothers? While I love the portrait, it feels like an Order 66 version of the character and not how we know Wrecker. He's like a cool uncle who's always got a smile on his face, but I can't fault them for the stoic expression either. For me, the portrait is an easy 10 out of 10. As mentioned earlier, Wrecker's helmet felt like a nod to an EOD bomb suit, but the same could be said for his armor as well, even though it's from the Republic Commandos. Regardless, it's modified for him and fit his specific needs, like the rest of the badge. Speaking of which, it's very similar in design to Crosshair and Hunter, which you'll see in a moment. Like the others, the matte finish to the paint application allows the light to shine off of it beautifully. And there's quite a bit of padding to his body, but nothing that would get in the way that I find. His armor is rather big though, so you can't be overly expressive with his poses. While we're on the topic, the red on his armor is a few shades brighter than Hunter and Crosshair. It isn't the faded, lived-in look that I'd assume he'd have. As we cycle through his brothers, let me know what you all think down below. When they're together, it's hard to notice, unless you're a stickler for those smaller details, to where it bugs you. As mentioned earlier, there are a lot of similarities between the armor with small changes here and there. While Wrecker might not be as posable as his brothers, he can definitely pull off sitting on the bark speeder. His gripping hands work for both handles and could also work on the step if you're up to it. He can sit all the way down and reach the pedals of the speeder, but you'll need to be cautious. He's still a heavy figure, and I check back on this often just to make sure he isn't stressing anything. So, Wrecker hasn't had time to be himself all video. So standing still while off duty isn't really his thing. Kicking things off, we have Wrecker pulling Hunter in for his first take. Next, we have Crosshair in a game of keep away. Moving on, Wrecker decided to bust a move while Echo reminded him of the current objective. And we also have Wrecker poking a little bit of fun at Rex for being a Gen 1 clone. Next up, a Geonosis Clanker testing wind direction. And here we have the Bad Batch standing at attention with a superior officer present. And here we have the most important comparison, which is the Heavy Mandalorian. They're both utilizing the same body, but Wrecker's ever so slightly taller. This is more than likely due to his ankle and neck pegs though. I did forget to grab Fennec for a comparison, but she is another option. For everything included, Wrecker's a great addition to the collection, but there's always a way to make things better, right? That's a given. While there's what could be better, there's also a what makes the most sense. The Guy Who Loved Bombs didn't come with a basic set of detonators, which we received with figures like Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars. Then you have his stuffed companion Lula, who also went missing from this release and present during the earlier episodes of Season 1. My nitpicks with what's included are from inconsistencies compared to previous releases. From the cleaner rifle design, which should be slightly bigger, to not being able to store his rifle on the backpack, which we can do with the battle droids. With my smaller gripes out of the way, Record came in strong with a decent release. If you enjoy the show and you aren't a super fan, you'll be extremely happy with your purchase. He's a beefy figure right out of the box, and the presence is strong when he's all posed up. With that said, I'm giving this release a solid 8.5 out of 10. As always, this is Jonathan with Boston Collectors, and thanks for watching.